10, 12, sometimes months before that information is obtained. So this is essentially handcuffing the work of law enforcement. Mr. Speaker, from there, what happens is... Basically what's going on is the Liberals are trying to introduce some sort of second reading of the Lawful Access Act, and they want to be able to go into the internet provider of anybody sending out emails and calling on phone numbers. It's very interesting because if you listen to this bullshit, it seems as though this law is like totally got my name on it, right? I will totally, like, it's this kind of stuff that will land me in jail, right? Because of my emails. You gotta watch this shit, guys. This is the second reading of the Lawful Access Act, giving police officers the opportunity to gain information and, I think, take away your access. That's what they've already talked about before, because this is the second fucking reading. It will essentially require warrants, which are judicially authorized and judicially reviewed, and that's subject to preparation by the law enforcement agencies. One sec. The third major component of this is a review process, because we know that the pace of progress, the pace of technology is moving at a speed that really is beyond what humans can expect. And with AI, we know that there's enormous challenges and enormous... This is Gary who writes letters to fucking terrorists, Gary. We have a review provision that will enable Parliament to do a statutory review of the legislation and to be able to make the necessary amendments as required. Let me just highlight, Mr. Speaker, towards the end, some very important components of this, the support that we're having. First and foremost, NCCOP had a unanimous report unanimous report from all members of the House who are members of that committee, as well as the Senate, to have lawful access regime embedded in Canadian law. Former police officer and investigator who represents Medicine Hat Carson Warner, I want to quote him, and it's rare that I would quote him, but I'm super impressed with his depth of knowledge on this. Our current legislation means police face barriers around seizure, authorities causing investigative delays, sometimes with no way to get access to the information they need. And he goes on, Mr. Speaker. I do want to say that this is an important piece of legislation, one that law enforcement demands, one that Canadians need for their safety and security, and I want to ask all parties to support this bill.
Questions and comments. Question et commentaire de honorable member Kamloops Thompson Nicola.
It's always a pleasure to rise on behalf of the people from Kamloops Thompson Nicola, and I thank the honourable minister for his intervention. Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of issues in this bill that I look forward to addressing at committee. One of the questions I have is the role of ministerial orders, and I'm mindful of the fact that ministerial orders require approval from the Intelligence Commissioner, but then after that they go into what I will call a vacuum because they are kept confidential. And I understand the reason why they may need to be confidential. I'm wondering whether the minister might be open to discussing amendments that would require or enable some sort of transparency, whether it be reviewed by a committee or somebody else, so that it's not put into this vacuum that lacks transparency when we have these orders made in confidence. Thank you.
The Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, and I want to thank my colleague for that question. And let me just say that at the outset that we have consulted the Intelligence Commissioner, and we are the provisions in this bill reflect what is required, in our opinion, for that transparency to take place and for that accountability. Of course, as I've always said, Mr. Speaker, we look forward to this process going to committee and more robust conversation taking place at the committee stage.
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. L'honorable.
The Honourable Member for Beauharnois-Salaberry, Soulanges Huntington. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, the Quebecois fucks that are useless as fuck.
Yes, we agree that this is an important bill. My question is rather simple, Mr. Speaker. Despite the fact that C22 is far better than C2 with better protections, it proves one thing, that C2 was done far too hastily without consultations, and luckily the government was a minority government, so it was not adopted at the time, and it allowed us to today debate C22, which is much better. Is he open to a number of amendments? Is he open to amendments that would further strengthen Bill C22?
Honourable Minister of Public Safety. Oui. And comments. Questions et commentaires.
And that's Gary, who wants to take all the people's guns, the law-abiding people's guns.
I would like to highlight the two numbers. It shows how seriously we take the protecting of our people seriously. Law enforcement has asked us to modernise our capacity for legal access in Canada, lawful access rather, and Bill C22 has been very well received by a number of organisations that represent law enforcement, like the Canadian Association of Police Heads, that have asked MPs to work together for a rapid adoption of this bill. So I'd like to ask my minister, how were law enforcement organisations consulted before C22?
Public safety.
Probably just with the crooked cops. Right? Just with the crooked cops. Don't forget, this is Gary, who has written letters to terrorists. You can go on to my YouTube channel. Last year, I climbed a fucking tree doing a goddamn skit, okay?
Where we met with the regional police in Halton. I want to thank the MP for Lawful West for her advocacy.
You can't trust these fucks as far as you can throw them.
Law enforcement, and this is a critical tool that they have asked to be part of the law.
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. The Honourable Member for Parkland. Short.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know there's the telecom sector is very concerned
After
about
this,
the
I'm
compliance
getting off
costs of,
because I'm fucking getting
complying with this
sore. I'm sitting on the
legislation, and
fucking
wondering
floor
what
and,
sort of
yeah.
compensation schemes, if any,
Waiting for the
does
police at my
government
door. I'm a
anticipate putting
poet
into
and didn't
place,
fucking know it, you know?
to ensure this legislation can be complied with. Thank you.
Okay,
Honourable Minister
anyways,
of Public Safety.
I'm done. Let's just hear what he has to say and then we'll be done.
From telecommunication companies and other service providers, we are not contemplating compensation. This is part of CRTC's licensing. As you're aware, these are oftentimes licenses that are provided by the public, and in the public interest, it's important that there's compliance from those service providers who are essentially governed by Canadian law.
Alors, j'ai l'honneur d'annoncer.
I have the honour of announcing to the House that the Senate has adopted the following bill that it submits to the consent of the House. Bill S209.
Anyways, I'm getting off here. I'm getting fucking sore. Do your homework, you fucking idiots.